Welcome everyone to our second session of RYSE Insight Bites, where you can hopefully get that lunch and also a couple of insights to inform your school selection process. Glad you are all here. So this is my company, Rise Kids. We are really focused on providing better information for kids so that we can all, as parents, make better choices for our kids. So I'll tell you more about kind of our beliefs that guide our work. But today we're glad you're here to learn more about your public high school options. So, our goal for this time is to increase your awareness of all your high school options. Just make sure that you have a sense of what is out there, and then give you resources to be able to get more information. You'll see we have a lot that we're going to go over today, so it will be fast. And I definitely won't have a chance to give you all the details, nor do I know all the details. But like I say, I'll point you towards resources where you can learn more. Be sure to jot down any schools that we go across that are of interest to you and you want to learn more, and also jot down questions as we go. We'll come back to those in the end. So our time will be focused, I'll give you a little bit about RYSE just so you know who you're getting information from. I want to show you our RYSE Explorer at the beginning because I think the number of schools we're going to look at is going to be so overwhelming that I want you to know where you're going to be able to find this all later. We'll do a quick peek at the lottery dates. I think a lot of you probably are already familiar with that. And then we're going to really dive into the high school options, charter, traditional, and magnet schools. And then we'll look at additional resources that are available to support you and have time for your questions and answers. So jumping in with about RYSE, I am the founder of RYSE. I started this company because I was so tired of watching families get misled in the school choice process and work really, really hard to choose a great school and then be disappointed. And it would be that type of disappointment that I feel like if they had had more information, they could have seen this coming. And so we're here to provide that better information so we can all make better choices for our kids. I have little ones in CMS as well, first and fourth graders. I've been working for the past 17 years in education policy and data analytics, both in nonprofits working to strengthen our school system and in large school districts managing the types of data that we're going to be looking at today. I studied this in my grad program, and my real passion is in helping families avoid those common mistakes. At RYSE, we do not like to talk about schools as being either good schools or bad schools. That tends to come with a lot of outside ideas that are actually not all that helpful for families trying to find a great fit for their kid. These top 10 lists, all of that is information that we encourage you to kind of put down. I think most families know intuitively that that is not the most useful information. And so instead, we're really supporting families in thinking about what schools are going to be a great fit for your individual child, knowing that there are multiple kids in a family. There are likely to be different needs. And then how does that school fit your overall family, your values, your beliefs, your priorities, your location, and all the rest. And also, we are really interested in pointing out those common missteps. So you'll see our information is oriented towards what you might not know. And we do tend to focus on public schools, but we do appreciate that there are lots of types of schools that are eligible and available to support families. And if a private school or an independent school is a great fit for your family, fantastic. We focus on public primarily because we're wanting you to get high quality information, and we mostly have that for public schools. We very rarely to never have that for private schools. So we're just able to provide less support in that domain. All right, now I want to jump in and show you a little bit about RYSE Explorer. This is our brand new platform. You can access it at go.rysekids.com. It includes the high quality information we want families to have for schools all across the state of North Carolina. It's the only place that you can put in your home address and get your complete list of public school options in Charlotte. It provides an alternative to the very misleading school ratings that we like to make sure families know to completely disregard. And it also includes information about the diversity of the student population, the magnet programming, the transportation zones, and much more. And then there are some tools to organize your search as well. And I'm going to just show you a little glimpse of it so that you know what's available. And when I sign in, you will see first, you can see all of the public schools across the state. And then you can see here that I have my list. So when we're going through the schools today, if you start to feel like, how in the world am I supposed to find these later or know where I'm going or what to do? You can look at them across the state by zeroing in, like on Mecklenburg County, for example. And if you want to look specifically at charter schools, you can do that. And if you want to focus on, let's say, magnets with the world languages focus that we'll talk about, Those are all here for you to click into and look at more. You can also then get your custom My List. So this will show you all the charter, traditional, and magnet schools you're eligible for. And you can also narrow down based on grade levels. I know we're talking about high school, so this is where you could go and look at your ninth grade options and see them all listed here for you. And this is where you've got the additional information that you might be interested in. So I'm not going to go through it in detail, but I just want you to know that this is here and that's where you'll come back to these when you get ready. All right. Let me double check. Got a couple more folks coming in. Great. All right. All right. And now let's do a quick overview of our lottery dates. So the school choice lottery process is going on right now. As you all probably know, this is only for the magnet schools. So this doesn't have anything to do with the charters. They run separate individual processes that you can learn about on their websites. And the main kind of steps in this process, let me actually present so you can see a little bit better, are enrolling and getting your student ID. Now, many of the folks on the call I know already have students in CMS, but if you have a student in a charter school or if you have a child who's entering kindergarten or is coming from a different state or different district, it's important that you enroll your child. You have until November 21st to enroll your child in CMS. Then you can attend open houses and other events. For example, the CMS Endless Possibilities Fair, there was one last week and there's one this coming Saturday. I thought it was an outstanding opportunity to see a lot of schools. So I would highly recommend attending the fair on Saturday if you're able. And then you will submit your choices by December 5th. So the main deadline you want to keep in mind if your child's already enrolled is December 5th. That is when you'll submit your final options. And we may do a session on important things you want to know when you're submitting your options. So if you're interested in those, feel free to, drop that in the chat. Hey, Miss Maddie, glad you're here. Okay, so with that.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, so with that, we're going to jump into the high school options. There are so many. It's going to take us a minute to get through them all. So there are three different types of public schools available. That actually was the subject of our talk on Tuesday, and there is a recording that I will send to you after this. I highly recommend if you're not familiar with how charters are different than magnet and traditional schools, for example, and what questions you should be asking in the different school types, I definitely encourage you to watch that talk as well. We'll go through these each in groups, but here you can see you have your traditional neighborhood schools, your magnet schools, and your charter school options. And I guess this is my plug for the talk on Monday. Like I say, I'll make this video available to you all. And we're going to start first by just making sure we're aware of our traditional neighborhood school options. You can get the list of these of your specific zoned high school by going to the MecGeo portal. I will say it has been down a lot lately where you just can't access it. So this would be then my other plug for RYSE Explorer. When you get your My List, you can actually go in and check your zoned schools. And I think I've got too many filters set. Let me start over here. And it will show you what your zone schools are. So you can see I'm zoned for West Charlotte, Bruns Avenue, and Ransom Middle. So that would be your other option of how to get those zone school options. And you will then have one specific zoned high school that you're entitled for your child to attend at any point in their educational experience. You can see some of the options kind of listed out by the different transportation zones. So I'm going to leave that there because we're all likely to have somewhat different traditional neighborhood school options. Next, we're going to look at our charter school options. Now, these all have different lottery processes. So you're going to have to go to each website to learn more about the details of the program. You'll see we only have time for kind of a quick overview, but more details about the school and their lottery timeline. I will say broadly, I tend to see the lotteries for the charters tend to be open until about February, but don't bank that, don't count on that. Make sure that you check because some do happen in the fall. Okay, so we're going to go through all the charter high school options. I find this is the hardest information to get. There's currently nowhere to get all of the charters in a list except for on RYSE Explorer. It's not available on the MecGeo portal. And prior to creating the RYSE Explorer, you really just had to look at newspaper articles to kind of piece them together. We're going to go through two different slides of them. There are, I believe, 19 total. And these are all the charters in Mecklenburg County. So if you live near Union County or Iredell County or another county, you might find that there are some nearby charters. Again, you'll be able to see that in the RYSE Explorer, and you could look into those options as well. But the goal here again is just to give you an awareness that these exist. So if one piques your interest, you can jot it down and go learn more. Okay. So to start with, we have Aspire Trade High School. So this is a high school that focuses on both core academics and individual trades. You can see a lot of different options available at Aspire. The Bonnie Cone Leadership Academy focuses on classical education and a values-based curriculum. It's K to 12. Bradford Prep School is a college prep school focused on educating the whole child. We have Charlotte Lab School here closer to Uptown, which is focused on project-based learning, whole child orientation, a diverse by design model. And they also have a partial immersion dual language program where your child chooses either Spanish or Mandarin. Charlotte Secondary School is a college prep school where diversity is central to their focus and they're really oriented towards the whole child. At Commonwealth High School, this is a school that's focused on helping students graduate by offering accelerated credit earning options, a flexible schedule so that students could like work during the day. And they also tend to have a shorter school day overall. They provide a lot of academic and social supports to get students to graduation. And you can see this school, students are actually eligible to work towards their diploma until age 22. The Community School of Davidson uses the principles of the basic school, has small class sizes, focuses on character education, and an inclusive community focus for K-12. There's the Corvian Community School, which is also a college prep, whole child focused charter. Jackson Day is college prep, whole child, character education with small class sizes and a community focus. And then Lake Norman Charter is focused on college readiness, leadership, and social responsibility as well, a K-12 school. All right, hopefully that gives you just an overview as I have in my footnote here. I'm sure I'm not capturing the richness of the details of all these schools, so be sure to look at their websites if you're interested. And this is the second batch of high school charter options. So we have a really unique high school, which is Pioneer Springs Community School. It's a nature integrated, hands-on project-based learning with a small school focus or small class size focus. I didn't see this on their website, but historically they've talked about how students spend 80% of their day outdoors. So if that's of interest, might take a look. We also have Socrates Academy, which is a college prep school. It offers partial Greek immersion, and your student also chooses Spanish or Mandarin, which is amazing. They call it the trilingual advantage, and they also emphasize the small class sizes. So Stewart Creek High School is going to be similar to I'm going to take that Commonwealth High School in that it is focused on faster credit accumulation options for students who are really working to get their degree. They're going to offer the flexible scheduling that can allow students to work or have other responsibilities at home. They offer rolling enrollment and graduation, so you don't need to wait until the end of the semester to graduate or potentially could enroll mid-semester. And they have a real technology-enabled model with a lot of staff support. And again, students can keep working towards their diploma up until age 22. Sugar Creek Charter has an explicit mission focused on eradicating generational poverty. They focus on personalized learning with a college prep and workforce readiness, kind of a both and approach. A heavy focus on character and life skills education for K-12. The Math and Science Academy of Charlotte has a very strong STEAM focus, and they kind of focus on both the academics and the character education. They say they're focused on science, wisdom, and peace. They are currently relocating, so you would want to consider that if you're looking into that option. There is the Telra Institute, and this is a school that offers a personalized learning approach for advanced learners with the idea that students can master content and move up through the grade levels faster than you typically would. So they have a whole specialized program. They are currently K to 10 as of this year. That they say they're going to be adding a grade, so one would expect they would enroll up to 11th grade next year, but it isn't quite clear on their website, so you'd want to check with them on that. They also offer a remote academy option. I believe it started last year, and it serves grades 5 to 10, and it's kind of taking that same personalized mastery-based approach and making it available for online students. And then for other online options, we have 2 statewide charter schools that provide virtual learning options for any student living in North Carolina. So they are the North Carolina Virtual Academy and the North Carolina Cyber Academy. All right, that was the flyby of charters. Hopefully you now have a sense of what is out there in the charter world. If you have any questions, jot them down and we'll come back to them soon. Now we are going to venture into the world of magnet schools. Charlotte is very lucky, I say, to have a very robust magnet program with over 70 schools in total. And we're going to look specifically at the high schools today, of course. As you all may know, a lot of your access to magnet schools or access to transportation to magnet schools is based on your transportation zone. And there's two ways to find out what transportation zone you're in. You can either go to that MECGeo portal and put in your address, and it will specifically identify which magnet zone you're eligible for, which transportation zone you're in. Or if you live squarely in one of these three zones, you can kind of eyeball it with the map. So both of these QR codes will take you to these resources and they will be in the follow-up email as well. So don't feel like you have to get it right this second. But you do want to know if you're in the violet, green, or blue transportation zone. What's important here is you're eligible for all of the magnet programs in CMS. The transportation zone tells you if you're going to be eligible for transportation to that school, and it also does give you a priority in the lottery. So just because a particular program isn't in your transportation zone does not mean you can't go there. It means you'll need to find your own transportation, or your child will need to be transported there some other way, and you won't have a priority. So it could impact your competitiveness in the lottery process. Okay. Now, there are a lot of different programs. I'm really excited to go over this with you all because most of the time families have no idea all of the options that are out there. And frankly, I learned a lot when I was at the CMS Endless Possibilities Fair because the details are pretty exciting for some of these programs. So I'm going to go through each of these piece by piece and we'll look at the different schools that are available in each transportation zone for them. Obviously, we won't be able to go into all the details, so jot down questions and you can ask them at the end. Or again, the CMS Endless Possibilities Fair is a great way to get a lot of those questions answered all at once. That, by the way, I believe is 10 a.m. to 1 or 2 p.m. and it's at the Park Expo Center. I have it on my social media if you want to check the specific details. Okay, so let's jump in with the IB schools. These are the International Baccalaureate schools. So if you're not familiar with International Baccalaureate, this is a network of schools. There are over 5,000 worldwide, they say. And it's a program that's really focused on international mindedness and preparation to be a part of like a global community. There is a IB diploma that students are typically working towards, which requires students to sit for specific IB exams, have certain community service expectations met, and also write an extended essay. All of the coursework is focused, as I said, on the global citizenship. There is a language learning component. There's orientation toward critical thinking and also the compassion aspect with the community service. Some folks believe that this offers kind of a competitive advantage in the college admissions process. In the Violet School Zone, both North Mech and West Charlotte have IB magnet programs. Valentine Ridge offers the same type of programming for the blue transportation zone, and East Mech offers it for the green transportation zone. Okay, now this next group is really an incredible set of opportunities here in Charlotte. We have both early and middle colleges available to students. So these are 100% free regular high schools, except that they provide free access to either an associate's degree or college credits that your student will take with them to their college, up to 2 years of college credits. These schools, I think the folks, when you speak to them about it, do a really good job of talking about who these programs are a good fit for. And they're specifically for students who can handle and are ready for honors, AP, and college level courses. I believe all of the courses are either or one of those three, all of them from the very beginning. These programs partner with a college or university and follow that schedule in addition to the CMS schedule. So this is something to keep in mind if you have other students in CMS, for example, your child attending an earlier middle college might start school sooner and might actually, I believe they finish school sooner in the calendar year. They'll have some days when CMS is closed, but the university is open and they're still expected to attend their university courses and vice versa. The university may be closed, CMS may be open. Those students still need to get to campus and make sure they're there for their high school classes in that case. So they really emphasize students not only being ready for the academic rigor, but also being mature enough to handle their different school schedules, traveling independently, potentially, so these schools don't provide a school bus transportation option. They do provide a CATS transit pass so that students can come and go as they need to. But for example, they could have a high school class that ends at, let's say, 9:30 in the morning and a college class that starts at 9:20. And students are going to need to be mature enough to know they've got to get up from their high school class and go to their college class, for example. So you really want to think about if your child is ready for this. They are of very small programs. I believe all of them, or at least most of them, only admit 100 students. They're very small and they're very have very intensive support. They know they're supporting kids and coming from middle school in the case of the early colleges and going straight into high school and college all at once. So they do provide a lot of support. They also offer internship and work-based learning opportunities, and some of them offer up to 3 years of guaranteed paid internships during the school day. I'll show you more about that specific program and there may be more, but there's one in particular I know does provide that. The sibling guarantee does not apply here because they're so focused on both your child being ready academically and maturity wise. You aren't automatic. Well, I say that it seems that for some it does apply, and for others it doesn't. So you shouldn't assume that the sibling guarantee applies. I believe the UNCC schools do apply the sibling guarantee, and the other ones don't. But let's just say that's something you should check into. It doesn't apply automatically. So there's early colleges and middle colleges. The difference is simply when they begin. So the middle colleges start in grade 11, and for both early and middle colleges, students can attend an extra year for free in order to accumulate more college credits or to complete their associate's degree if they choose. Speaking with folks at the schools, they say some kids stay, some kids don't. It's not the case that almost all of them do or almost none of them do. So that's just an option. The early colleges start in ninth grade. And so some of the thinking here is your child may be ready right away in ninth grade, but perhaps they're not really ready for this experience until 11th grade. The middle colleges provide that later on ramp. I also heard from several of them at the fair that they have openings available. So let's say you have a 10th grader already, or I guess a ninth grader this year, and you think next year they might be interested. You could certainly try and reach out to those schools and see if they would admit them as a 10th grader. In most of these schools, students are finished with high school credits by 10th grade. And by 11th and 12th grade, they're taking only college classes. So these schools are located on college campuses. That's where they have like a hall dedicated to them or a portion of a building, and they are going to college classes with college students. So the early colleges, there's one at Central Piedmont Community College, and this program allows you to earn an associate's degree. The two UNC programs allow you to earn credit hours, but because UNCC is not a community college, doesn't award associate's degree, so they wouldn't be getting an associate's degree, but they would be getting hours towards a 4-year degree. There's also the Hawthorne Academy of Health Sciences, and it has a partnership with the Carolina College of Health Sciences. If your student is interested in nursing or being in the medical tech fields like radiology, et cetera, I really encourage you to learn more about this program. They have a partnership with Atrium, and they have 3 years of paid internships as a part of this program. So they are working during this program. They also have guaranteed admission to the Carolina College of Health Sciences into particular programs once they graduate. And it's a tight partnership with Atrium Health. So they're really preparing these students for roles that are ready for them as they step out of either high school or college. So fascinating program available there. A lot of hands-on experience. And then the middle colleges are all partnered with Central Piedmont Community College and are moving students toward those associate degree options. One other thing to note is this is the Charlotte Engineering Early College and the Charlotte Teacher Early College, but the staff members there do stress that your child doesn't have to be locked into those professions or those interests in order to, pursue those opportunities. Okay, write down questions. I'm going to keep us cruising. There are several different magnet options that are only available at North Mech, so we're going to look at them here together. They're the automotive technology program that focuses on preparing students for a series of different automotive career pathways and also offers apprenticeship, internships, and job shadowing opportunities. There's also cosmetology, which has 2 courses for students to learn cosmetology through and then provides them with hours of instruction toward their state board licensure. And there's also a culinary arts program, which focuses on really hands-on instruction, preparing students for either continued education and higher education in the culinary arts space, entrepreneurship, or employment. So check those out if you're interested. So this would be an example of if you live in the violet zone, you would have bus transit and priority access to these programs at North Mech. But if you live in one of these other zones, you could still apply to those. You'll just need to manage transportation. We also have a digital marketing pathway that is specific to the Cochrane Collegiate Academy, which is called the IMEC Academy of Global Influencers. So this is a specific program within this school. And you can see they have really fascinating mini majors that students can focus in on: customer relationship management, graphic design, app and web development, digital marketing, business, lots available. So recommend you check out that one if that's of interest. Harding University High School offers a particular focus on law and social justice. And I'm actually just going to show you a clip of what they have on their website, which is, you can see there are multiple different concentrations available. And so there's the law, social justice, and forensic psychology. And you can see they're actually taking college courses in criminal law, constitutional law, these fascinating areas by their senior year. So you can see there's a possibility for internship and a lot of interesting options there. All right. There's also our visual and performing arts pathway. So this is Northwest School of the Arts in the high school level. And this is where students are receiving pre-professional level preparation in the visual and performing arts. There is an audition required to attend Northwest School of the Arts, and it's specific to whatever field or kind of track they're going to be entering into. The next one's coming up on November 4th. You do have to request it, so make sure you check out the website to learn more if your child's interested in this option. And there is also a secondary Montessori public high school, which I want to tell you all is quite rare across the US. There are only, last I checked, it was around 6, but it's been a while, so let's say a dozen nationally. There are not all that many secondary Montessori options, but J.T. Williams Secondary does serve all transportation zones, and they focus on kind of adapting and using the Montessori practices, which is very hands-on project-based learning. They have a community service requirement, and they also have these intensive field study courses, which where students are out either traveling or on a community or immersed in a specific project for at least, I believe they're each 2 weeks. There's one in the fall, one in the spring each year, and this is another big part of their program. They are relocating to the Marie G. Davis building, and last I heard it was on track for the coming school year, so you'll want to consider that if this is a pathway that's of interest to your family. Then there are the world language programs. I know a number of folks here have been in Spanish immersion school or maybe other immersion schools. So these world languages are different than language immersion schools in that they are not immersive, but they are advanced course offerings in these pathways. You can actually start with the world language options in 6th grade. So if you're interested in that, come to our middle school session next week. Their languages that are offered in this opportunity are Chinese, French, German, Japanese, Spanish, and also American Sign Language. They're all the course, or not all, yeah, actually all of the courses I believe are honors or AP courses. And students who are coming from a K-8 immersion, so SAIL, Charlotte East Language Academy, Oaklawn Language Academy, or Collinswood, for example, with Spanish, or Northwest Academy of World Languages, will actually start at a higher level, given that they have been learning in that language. So if you're in the Violet School Zone, you are zoned for North Mech, unless you want to access the Japanese program. That's only offered at South Mech, and so then all of the transportation zones are served by South Mech in that case. And of course, green and blue, you have all those options there. Our STEM and STEAM programs, so these are our science, technology, engineering, arts, and math programs. There are many. We actually have one high school, Philip O'Berry, which has a huge focus on STEM and STEAM throughout. But there are specific schools focused on environmental stability, environmental sustainability, and also computer science. You can see just a sample of some of the pathways that are available: sports and events marketing, digital marketing, software development, financial planning, forensic science, environmental science, and tons more. So if you're interested, the schools you want to look into are Philip O'Berry Academy of Technology, which serves all transportation zones; Harding University High, same thing, serves all transportation zones; and then also North Mech. Our virtual learning option here in Charlotte, in addition to those charter schools that I mentioned to you earlier, we have the Charlotte Mecklenburg Virtual School. It starts in grade 6. If your child is interested in entering in grades 9 through 12, they do have to go through a transcript review, so you want to reach out to the school to learn more about that. They do take 100% of their classes online and can learn from wherever they are. Students are eligible to participate in their extracurricular activities through their home school. If you watch our session on Tuesday about different school types, you'll see that for most magnet programs, you're eligible to participate in sports and other extracurriculars at your home high school if they're not offered at your magnet program. And that is true at Charlotte Mecklenburg Virtual. Okay, I'll leave that one there. All right, that was it. That was our flyby. Those are our magnet school options at the at the middle school level. Okay, I mean at the high school level, excuse me. All right, now I just want to run us through a couple. I know we're ready to turn over to questions soon. Um, I do want to call out something really important. I will not have a chance to go through this in detail here, but one of the biggest school mistakes we see families make when they're considering their options at any level is relying on information related to their school ratings. So these are the A to F ratings you get from the state of North Carolina, the U.S. News and World Reports, niche, grade schools, etc. You can see one quote from our longer presentation on this topic, which says, when families turn to test scores for information, they're likely to end up with a picture that's both inaccurate and incomplete. And we go through this in our, let me jump to this, our RYSE Live workshop. We really break down why is this the case and what can families do about it. Some of the schools that we pointed out today have an A rating, and I can tell you their students in those schools are academically, they're falling behind their peers across the state. So if you're relying on those ratings, any of those ratings, or even on word of mouth ideas about whether this is a good school or not, which tend to reflect those ratings, I strongly encourage you to join us for a RYSE Live workshop where we go through this in detail. It takes a little bit of time to really parse it out. And we'll answer questions such as, is Charlotte's school district a strong school district? How do families get misled? How can you avoid those common missteps? What does the research say really does matter when you're choosing a school? And then we'll recommend a process you can go through that will lead you to quality information along your journey. I'll also send to you all this, this guide that we have at RYSE. It's available of questions to ask based on different school types. If that's helpful for you as you're going to the Charlotte CMS Endless Possibilities Fair or other open houses that are happening now. And, oh, this is our RYSE Live workshop example. Oh, okay, we'll skip that one for now. And then you have the RYSE Explorer. I will include a link in the email that I sent to you. There is a free version which allows you to see the data for all the schools across the state of North Carolina. And there is a paid version which gives you your custom list based on your home address. It is important to know that RYSE is for all families, not just families who have the resources. So if at any point for you or someone you know, price is a barrier for you in accessing that resource, please be sure to reach out and we can absolutely make it available to you and anyone you know. We also partner with nonprofits to do these presentations for families for free and make these resources available. So if you know of a religious group or a group supporting families or any other space in which that would be a resource, please do reach out. All right. We also offer one-on-one sessions if ever you want individualized support. And then, of course, we've got the rest of our RYSE Live Insights, what are these? RYSE Insight Bite sessions. So we've got elementary options and middle options next week. Then we'll be looking at how you can really evaluate whether a school is a good fit for a student with special needs and for students who are advanced learners or gifted learners. Students who are advanced and gifted learners in particular tend to fall victim to these traps around test scores because students inherently have high test scores. And so this can be something that's particularly challenging to navigate. And we made a specific component of the RYSE Explorer so that you can look at the results by student groups. So for example, if you want to look at academically or intellectually gifted students, which is to say advanced learners, you can click that group and it will actually sort so that the highest learning, oh, I have a small number of schools here. Let me remove my filters. But the schools that are doing the best job kind of moving students forward academically, students who are already advanced learners, you can actually see that information on here. So you can see Shamrock Gardens, for example, has made a lot of progress. They're exceeding their growth expectations. Again, we go through all of this in RYSE Live. Recommend you join us. We have a session tomorrow and a session November 4th, so next Tuesday evening. You can also look at your results here by students who are learning English as a second language if you want to see where students are being best supported, for example, at Charlotte East Language Academy or Sugar Creek Charter. And then we have it also by racial and ethnic identity groups because we know, unfortunately, we're not all having the same experiences in our school. So if you want to see where particularly Latino students are being well supported or another group of students, you can also do that. Okay, I believe with that, we are at the end. So let me thank you all for your attention. I know that was a quick and long or dense presentation, and I'd love to hear what questions are on your mind.